Alright, you guys, got a 2020 game against somebody rated 1300 exactly. This is Wendell91. Got some music on in the background, hope that's not too distracting. Okay. Okay, so we've got like a basic Leningrad Dutch. So the thing about, let me shut that door actually. You don't want to listen to folk music when you're trying to learn chess. Okay, so Leningrad Dutch, all straightforward. So I will try and get in my light square bishop fianchetto if white doesn't get there first. So if he plays g6, it doesn't make sense for me to do that. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to play this just to defend the knight so I don't have to capture outwards with my pawn. 2020 game. Alright, so now, this is very similar to the game I just played actually. I'm very much inclined to play that. Now he might then push d5 and try and shut things down, but it's a lot of pawn moves. If something I find quite often helps is just to think, what would the computer say? What would Stockfish do? And Stockfish, I'm sure, will just say you've got to like push in the centre. D6 is a thought. I'm going to play this anyway. Bugger Stockfish right in the ear. You know, I like my snipers. I'm having good results with my snipers recently. Okay, he's kind of completely ignored that threat, and now if I play this, what's he got? He's got knight out to f3. He's got pawn to f3. What's this bishop doing? It's not exactly giving itself lots of scope forwards in the board, so let's chuck that in. So with the 20-second increment, I should be really taking a good 30 seconds over every move. Yeah. So we kind of expected this. His knight might want to come in here or here, in which case c6 is not a bad idea, but it does block off my sniper. How about d6, c5? Then he's got that and completely shut me off. Okay, maybe it's just time to castle, don't know. Can I put any more pressure on this knight? d6, e5? I'm going to play d6, it gives me options. It gives me an option there and an option there. If I move my e-pawn, the knight is pinned. Okay, right. Now, takes. Might lose a pawn. Let's get castled. Okay, knight here will pretty much force knight to take. Then pawn takes, and does that win material? Check this out, knight in. If knight takes, f takes, and I'm looking at knight and bishop reinforced by that. Haha. Still got 20 minutes and a second. I've got more time now than I started with. Not usually a good sign. Plus it opens up the f-file. So he shouldn't take with it. Okay, well that's a thought. It's an idea. Yeah, well done. Didn't think about that particular eventuality. Right, now if I take this, his knight's not got very nice options, has it? It's all the way back to the back rank, or h4. What's wrong with you? But if h4, I might have trapping plans. Okay, so it's kind of looking spicy. Or is he just... he can't take because bishop's guarding. I want to engage this knight in the action. I think f6 looks very kind of natural. Maybe swing the bishop around. Although it is doing a useful job right now, protecting my pawn. Could push pawns up and try and block off this side of the board. This Leningrad Dutch does tend to... Ah, okay, he's gone all the way back home. Alrighty. Alright, ding dong. Ah, that's a poor knight. He's also then disconnected his rooks from each other, which is good news for this bishop if stuff happens around here. Question is, do I want to open up the middle of the board? I mean, I'd love to move this guy out of the way because he's blocking my bishop's view of g2. So I could do pushy push, takes, still not much better, or just ideas of swinging the bishop around. But then I might just drop the pawn. Let's think about improving the knight, first of all. Are there any immediate attacking ideas? Knight to here, looking at h2. If we can get her queeniness. So maybe something like this. Queen on there, c7, looking at h2. And just slip the horse round. It's a thought. It's a plan, man. See, if pawn takes here, pawn takes, I'm quite happy with a blocked up centre here, and it's just inside white space, so it's going to make this queen look really dumb and this knight not particularly useful, while I focus on like going in that direction. Hello. Oh, he wants to go here, does he? Okay, well, look, bishop here. I'm looking at his bishop. If knight takes or pawn takes, I've got 3 pieces on that, so that's okay. I think we're okay. Or do I just eliminate the knight? It resolves the problem of my currently inconvenienced bishop. Yeah. So he wants to take that. Right, so we've got a couple of options. The bishop thing here, adding second defender, attacking this guy, is going to result in material coming off the board. Let's think it through. Bishop here. Whatever takes, I can recapture with a pawn if I want, and kind of restore my pawn structure. But I've still got a bad bishop. Okay, off comes the bishop. Off comes the bishop. I've still got this idea. I mean, I could do that now, if I want. His bishop's quite bad, in fact. I'm kind of inclined just to ignore it and crack on with my day, you know. If I kick him here, he's got to go there or there. It's getting worse for the bishop. I'm going to squeeze the bishop. I don't really want to trade it. I might want to use my own bishop, for example. I might trade my bishop for it, I suppose. It's a thought. See, wherever he goes now, I've got g5, hits him again. He has to go back to here. Now, does that improve his situation? I might just be able to bring my knight in, though. I think my knight is better than his bishop. So So I don't want to swap him off right now. This pawn is weak. I'd love to put my knight here and attack this pawn. The way to sound like a titled chess commentator, you just have to add the words in some lines to the end of any thought. I could, put my knight here in some lines, as though I'm like calculating all over the place. Now, bishop can't go there or there or there. So, if I get really, really hairy with Harry and push h5, he's going to have to move his pawn to drop all the way back, right? But right now, the problem is I don't have a plan. I've got a plan to attack this pawn in some lines. If I push Harry, h3, bishop h2, knight in here, still sopping off a perfectly good knight for a rotten bishop. I've got all my pawns. All on the dark side. My dark square bishop, however, might have prospects in the game. We don't know. So I don't think he can defend this pawn, can he? Queen there's not playable. Pawn could drop. Dropping the pawn. My opponent is Wendell91 from Brazil. Hello. Huh. Okay. So, why did my opponent play that move? Well, the knight is the only defender of this pawn. Tra-la-la. So if I take that and the queen takes that, knight comes back here, hits the queen. I don't know. If I push this and he does that, and I push there and he goes back, what's gained? Can I get my queen to here, then knight in there? Ha-ha! Now there's a plan. But my queen is the only defender of this, so do I want to play rook c8 first and then get queenie off the back rank and start to use the horseman of the apocalypse there? Still defending that pawn. Always good to draw an arrow at least for anything that's only defended once. That's defended twice, that's fine. That's undefended. Right? So maybe a5 in some lines. Oh dear. Got to have a laugh. Got to have a laugh. Or knight there, attack the bishop now. Okay, bishop's got nowhere to go. Then if I take the bishop, he takes with this. Boom, king takes, checks. It's a thought. Or I've got queen here. I go queen here, defends the pawn. Is also lined up with the king, no bad thing. This bishop is poor, isn't it? This bishop is horse feed. While he's having a think, this is a 4-12 game. So we're doing this thing in the Chess Bootcamp Club, where we're saying we're not playing anything shorter than like 15 minutes, 15-minute rapid. And we're going to see what happens to people's ratings over the month of December by abstaining from blitz and bullet and ooh, okay. Ha ha! Right, he's given his bishop an escape square. That's my first thought. If he takes here, he's actually got two attackers on there now, so my first idea is capture. And he might take back with the knight. His knight hasn't got any prospects from that square, because look at all these dark squares he can't go to, right? Also the rook. I don't know. I can't really let him take though. I'm going to capture. I think that was a decent move. He's taken with the knight. Okay, now he's reconnected his rooks again. He's got double pawns in the middle. It's not the end of the world. His bishop's still rubbish. I could kick the knight. At which point the knight can't go there, can't go there. Could go here, that's a thought. Can't go there, there. And he's got a couple of quite poor retreat squares. What's this idea? And then hit the knight. No, doesn't work. Okay. I'm still quite liking this idea. And then knight in. It's going to force him to move his pawn. Look at that. From that pawn, there's a lovely, lovely fork. Okay, I'm going to sneak the queen round somewhere. And then go for this move. Because if he blocks that move, I've got boom, batter, and boom. Come on. Right then. Right then. Oh, he's coming at me with pawns, though. Now, queen here. If he pushes a pawn, doesn't matter. Knight there was still on. Okay, let's do it. Let's bloody do it. Knight in there. Oh, bishop's guarding h2. Oh, that's tedious. Huh. Didn't think that through, did I, very well? Maybe drop the queen back then and just like send Harry through there to rampage and cause havoc. If he pushes here again, that pawn is then undefended. I'm taking it. Because you know what else? I'm attacking that. Threatening that. Now, does my opponent notice? He's 1300, he ought to. He's got heaps and heaps of time. He ought to. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, I can defend the knight with this. He's pinned the knight. You clever bastard. Right. Now, I could drop my queen back, but then he moves his knight and discovered attack. Not good. So I'm going to have to push this, I think. Then move the king. And then this is on again, because he's put his queen again in a forkable position. Two attackers, two defenders on that knight. Feel like I've lost my advantage to some degree. This bishop is now, you see, as stuff comes off the board, bishop is becoming more agile. My bishop's now quite poor. But even so, you know, takes. Oh, he's got pawn and knight and bishop looking at that. Yeah, right. Okay, if I take, bishop takes, maybe rook here. Sure. Could open things up though for my bishop. Could attack the queen. It's a thought. What do I just take? It's getting sharp, isn't it? Take. Bish takes. Feel like something's telling me I want to keep my rook on the f file. Can't really let him push. Can't let him take my pawn. My knight's still pinned. Okay, right. Let's let his bishop out. Out you come, bish. Now, my rook is obviously going to be happier on light squares, and these two spring to mind. This one defends the knight, just in case. This one defends this pawn. Let's just do this quiet one for now. Knight's defended by a pawn anyway. The pawn's defended by a rook. But now I do have this plan, which wins material. Rook is defended twice by king and queen, so ideas of moving his knight with an idea of attacking doesn't really work. This bishop's now become quite annoying though. But the immediate threat is this fork, which is now on. His knight can't really come. I mean, he might have ideas about putting it there. But then I can just snatch it off with my bishop if I want. I can also trade rooks. Oh, it's looking a bit equal. Not that happy. Knight here. Okay, I have the fork option. Let's just look at this. I'm not letting go yet. There. Queen has to move. Let's do it. Come on. Let's do it. There, probably rook takes. He needs to activate his other rook. Then I might push g4. Knight moves. Take off his last rook. Leave his king quite exposed. And then I've got another rook. Yeah, I've got spare. Okay. Ha! He's looking at my rook. If I come here, I can't. Pinned. Come here, he's got bishop there. This threatens checkmate. Might prompt a trade of queens. But if I go here and he pushes, I'll take his queen. So is that really forcing? He can't take the rook because queen takes queen. That might be the move I'm looking for, right? There, threatens mate in one. He's got to trade queens off. But then his rook escapes, does it not? I go here, queen takes, knight takes, looking at the bishop, his rook escapes, but we'll have to fight another day. What about like just even rook there? Is that a stupid idea? There? I'm still looking at his rook, then his rook escapes. Right, let's do this idea. That would be a blunder, of course, if he captures my rook, because he loses his queen. He's got to do something. He can't save his rook on the next turn. This is the important thing. He's got to trade queens. Got to trade queens now. Right, now let's look at this pawn structure. I'm starting to think about endgame now. 3 and a 2, not bad. 2, 2 and a solo. Okay, now if we can eradicate the solo, I've got an extra c-pawn. That's going to be the key. Get rid of this guy. There's only one move, Whitey. You've got to trade queens. He's got no decent checks. Taking that doesn't change anything. Checkmate, right? Queen takes that. Queen takes. No good. Queen here, check. No good. This is the only move. It's the only move. What are you thinking about? They're not attacking the bishop. I'd like to get rid of his bishop, right? It's a wide open board. Bishop's definitely superior to knights, I would say. Plus, also, no, we've got pawns on both sides of the board, which definitely suits bishops because knights are sluggish and slow. He's doing a right good thing. What are you thinking about? You've got a mate in one threat. Because, you know me, I'm really, really good at spotting mate in one threats. I'm not the kind of player that would just resign when you've got mate in one. You know, it's like, I just look at it, I just see it on the board. Yeah, alright, maybe not always, not all the time, but you know, hey, nobody's perfect. What are you thinking about? At 1300, he should have figured this out by now. Unless I've missed something. What? What did I miss? If you don't stop meddling, I will burn you. I will burn the heart out of you. That's how you want your opponents to feel. You know? Maybe he's gone for make a cup of coffee or something, I don't know. Oh, you got there. Alright, fair enough. Okay, so now, I'd love to take the bishop. He might trade off bishops. I'd like to double up my rooks. Okay, he's trading bishops. I think clearly king takes is the way to go. Yes. I don't want to take my rook off this nice open file. I've got this, that. Okay, anyway, it's got real. It's got real. So, I think rook d8. I need to do something about this problem. Okay, knight here. I think it needs to come to here, there, but then he's got rook here. I can cover. Not sure about pushing pawns at this stage. Don't know. Chess.com seems to have a bug now. Normally you can just left click on any square and it will delete all your annotations. Surely he hasn't got a check. He's going to lose material, and this is major. He's got no checks. So there's nothing can stop me now. See, he took all day over that queen capture. 3.5 minutes. 20 seconds for that move, right? Got 14 minutes on the board, bro. 14 minutes. You should be taking at least 30 seconds over every move, says he. But look. Huh. Okay. Now, all I need to do is move my rook, right? Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Don't panic! This is still on, right? I still have the fork. The fork is mine. I have the exchange. Now, with king and knight like this, he's got no checks, still got no checks. So all I need to do... Let's say I put my rook here, right? So he takes a pawn, I take the rook, other rook captures. That looks absolutely fine to me. I'm doing that. Can't see any reason why not. He hasn't got a check on the board, right? The knight moves, I take his rook. With check, rook has to take, otherwise he loses his rook, and he loses his rook anyway, so he's just kind of pinned his own knight in a way. Right now, material is equal. Tune in the background is The Jolly Wagoner by Sam Kelly and the Lost Boys. It's one that I do. Like a bit of folk music. You resign now. Does anyone else channel their inner Mr. Scheibel? You resign now. When you lose your queen, you resign. You never said that was in the rules. It's not in the rules. It's sportsmanship. Okay, look, it's the end of the week, right? My brain's running on fumes. You can excuse the odd rambling. Well, I didn't expect that. Huh. Okay. Right, first thought, say grab this rook, get this rook out of the way. Then come in with a check. If I check him now, no. Knight can't block there, it gets taken. Knight could block there. Oh, I don't know, let's just simplify it. It's not rocket science, is it? Right, he's got to take the free knight. Of course you have, yeah. Got to take the free knight. Now, there's no reason. Is this a useful check? I mean, or should I be doing like that and giving him a knight fork on both rooks? That would be fun. Okay, I'm throwing in the check. It's not a lost position. You know, I have plenty of scope to bugger up royally at this point in time. You know, it's particularly, I've really got to think about not putting my king and my rooks. I've got 3 very important pieces still on the board, and he's got a knight. Sneaky little buggers. I want to put my rook there, yeah? So, if I can keep them far enough apart, or on different coloured squares, right, then we might be okay. So rook here, for example, is safe from the knight. It's in the wrong colour. And it defends his pawn. See, right now he'd love to go there and fork my rooks. So rook here. What about rook here? Is that stupid? Well, that's stupid, but I'm going to put my rook here. He's got this attacking one rook, but that pawn's protected, so might push up here, maybe get a rook up. Right, okay. If I push, pawn can't take, look. You can't take. Because the pawn is the only defender of the knight. Haha. But I can take you. Oh yes. And if I do, the only defender of the knight is gone. The only people you love in this world will be dead. You want to attack my rook, do you? Right. We saw that. This rook, excuse me, this rook can move out of the way. Now, rook here, and he can't go anywhere on this, right? And he can't go there. So he's got, and he can't go there, so he's got 2 options. So now we move in. I think we move in. I'm tempted to play this, although it lets his rook in. But I can't really let him take me. So I take... Yeah, he'll probably put his rook here. Oh! Do you see it? I blundered. I just blundered. Okay, now I'm 1 pawn up, but I have my passed pawn. Okay, now he's got that. Oh, game on. Oh, bloody hell, Hunty. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I should have just gone up here and threatened this pawn and that pawn. What a jellyhead. Okay. Now what? I'd like my rook behind this pawn, because then if my pawn gets here, the only thing he's got is he has to slide his rook in the way. And then my king can come in and cause havoc. So I'm expecting him to do this. Well, that's slightly surprising. I have d3, attack the rook. Could just put it there, but then this. Okay, now, if I was to stop his rook coming into that attack, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to say, look, eat some pawns if you want. You do that. Okay, but now... Oh, right, okay, hang on. So let's move the king up. Right. His king goes here. That just equalises material. I think we're going to be equal. Look. So if I move my rook away now, he gets my pawn and he gets it with check. If I go here, he has to take with the rook. I take with the pawn, he takes with the king. I advance my king up the board. Oh, it's going to get interesting. So what do? Do I retreat my rook? Or do I simplify? There takes, takes. Got a slight head start with pawns, but it's looking drawish. It's looking drawish because I blundered my bloody rook like a blooming fool. Okay, I'm going to come here. So if he takes now, I come here, and we may trade rooks. But if we do, my king gets to move one square feather up the board. Oh. You see, you've just got to focus on every single bloody move. You lose your concentration just for a second. Huh, really? I think that wins me a pawn, eh? This is a rook fork. And what's more, even better, my rook is defending this, and I get to play a5. Okay, now he might want to come in here, in which case I can... got thoughts. Okay, now, that h5 looks good because it stops his king moving forwards. And he can't really attack because he can't put his rook there. Okay, now I can play a5. And I'm a pawn up. I want to stop him coming there, so I'm going to put my rook, my king. Ooh. Yeah, king there is fine. He can check me, but I just move over here. If he comes off of that rank, I've got this again. I've still got a5. a5. Rook's defending this. I'll put my rook here. It's defending all my pawns. I can go there. Rook here? No, drops a pawn. A4, rook there. Force a trade. I don't know. Right, what's he doing? This laughing boy here. What's he doing? What's your idea? What's your game? Here, you can push a pawn. Takes, takes, takes. But then I drop this pawn. No need. Just push up. I kind of like this idea. Force the trade. Nice to have the spare pawn. So all I need to do is eradicate this one and get my king over this side of the board. If I can lure his king over that side of the board, right, and my king over this side, I eat his pawns and win. B5 makes perfect sense, still defended by the rook. His king is actually scuppered. He can't go there, 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 or there. Yeah, so the king really can't make progress up the board. My king is better. It's more mobile. I'm also threatening this. Takes, takes. King has to go into the square. Push. No. Then I just come over here, you see. And this guy can always guard this one. You see, if his 8 pawn wants to move up, I've got him. There. Still got this problem. He still can't attack. Oh, he can actually. He can, but then I check. King moves, I take this pawn. Happy days. Tough defending one pawn down, but hey, we've all lost games from this position, right? I know I have. You might not have. God, it's a long one. But if I win, I'm back up to 15-12, which means I'm slightly up. So I lost a bunch of points earlier on. I lost to an 1100, uploaded that video. But then I went and beat a 15-15. Okay. Now, let's calculate. There, bang. He could approach with his accept a draw. I think not. Okay. Here, no. Let's say this. Let's say takes, takes, bung, bung, bung. I come up here. I think it's winning. If takes, takes. If he doesn't take, and he moves up with his king, it's the same difference. I take his rook, right? And then king takes. And he's still got the same problem. Because with his king here, okay, and it's me to move, 1, 1, 2, 2, takes, there, takes, there. I'm sure it's winning. Cheeky bastard off in a draw. Ho, ho. Okay, I could just push my pawn up. That doesn't really help. I actually want this. So look, takes, takes. Let's do my moves in red. Okay, no, that doesn't make any difference. Takes, takes. Move 2 there. Yeah, it's got to, isn't it? He goes here. I go here. He takes my pawn. I take his pawn. there, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's got 5. Mathematical, isn't it? Didn't even need to use these. Okay, now I have a queen, and boom, came with check. Let's check this out. Now, I was studying some endgame stuff. Right, if he goes king here, pawn here, and my queen is still on there, it's a... Look, bottom line is, I just need to come here. Prevent his king from going in the corner. Yeah, if my queen stays on that file and he plays king there, pawn there, stalemate, instant stalemate. Okay, so all I need to do now, I think, is just move this king and promote my other pawn. Yeah. If he promotes his queen, queen takes queen. Okay, he's resigned. Cool. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Right, let's learn a lesson. Always important. Learn a lesson from every game. Because I felt like I was doing quite well, then I kind of came off the boil in the middle, and then I blundered a rook. Well, we know what that is. That's the rook blunder, but I managed to gain my advantage again, and plus, yeah. Okay. But he did alright at the start. So let's have a look. Book move. Book. Best? Huh. Best, good. Best. Inaccuracy. What should I have done here? D6, yeah, it is kind of thematic. Anyway, I did that, he does that, inaccurate. That's excellent. Best move was E6 at this point. Stops him playing kind of D5 because then I can push through, yeah? But anyway, so he clearly made a blunder here. Did I take advantage? Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. And that's not bad, that's best. Good. Happy about that. That's excellent. What's the best move then? Huh. Still keeping the rook fork in my pocket. Well, it's half a point difference, but anyway. Okay, it's excellent. This is the start of the endgame and white is losing. He should have played that. You're having a laugh. Anywho. Yeah, no major lessons to learn from that, I don't think. Just look at the graph and let's see what was my first... Okay, as black, this move. That's a mistake. It's a mistake because I'm defending the knight. What's the line then? Yeah, I think that might actually be what happened. Pretty close. Okay, so I should have done... Okay. Alright, anyway, so yeah, no like major standout lesson, apart from not hanging your pieces, but managed to pull it off in the end, so quite happy about that. Anyway, I'm all chest out for one day. I might go and pick up my guitar, crack a beer. Have a good weekend everyone, see you later.